It's a long way to crawl back from after you bomb yesterday. It was a bomb. But I couldn't keep anything in tune. And then, and I was just not in it. This shouldn't be here right now. Let's get that off the screen. Otherwise a drum machine might start on you accidentally. And you'll be like, oh no. So here we are. If the live chat shows up, we'll stay alive. If they don't show up, I don't care. Then I won't stay alive. But because I've been not giving you guys crime streams. I've only given you bad streams. Should have been giving you crime streams. That's not to be confused with where you go around and do crime on the stream. It's just discussing it. Though I suspect there have been crimes very minor crimes committed on New Cokes before. Nothing serious. What's up, Bally Walnuts? I don't know what happened. Did I pigeonhole myself into Erons and then all the Zodiac people stopped coming? That's what might have happened. But I think that we've covered Erons. You know, I started reading Kat Winters' book the other night because my wife was cooking, and I started reading it, and I was like, I know all of this information. So what's the point? Until something new comes out, and it... But I did see that Morford was on Zodiac Killer News, and I didn't watch it yet, so I don't know what the news is. But supposedly there's case updates, according to Mike Morford. Is that true? Can anyone confirm if there have been case updates in Zodiac? I doubt it. We got DNA from a mailbox in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't match Arthur Lee Allen, so it can't be him. I love the... You know what really scares me? Oh, this is what I really want to say about Zodiac. If we're going to talk about Zodiac. I want to talk about Zodiac with everybody right now. I'm in the mood for it. Lore Lodge, your crime scene visit got me. Now I'm here for the ride. Oh, that's how you found me? I didn't know that. You must have found me on Pro Boards or something. In that was about a year ago, almost a year ago, not quite. What was I saying about Zodiac? Oh, Lore Lodge wants to do a video on the Zodiac Killer. And not only that, he says he's going to do a deep dive on it. I swear to God, if you say Arthur Lee Allen is ruled out, I will turn the video off. It doesn't mean that I'm saying you have to say it's Allen, because I get it. It might not be Allen. But if you say that he has been conclusively ruled out, oh man, am I going to have words. And I wish I still had that old video, Arthur Lee Allen is not ruled out. It's like 2 hours long. But it was at a time when New Cokes was a lot lower energy. New Cokes was a little edgier and quieter back in the day. Now I've gotten more outspoken. At the time I was still as outspoken, but I did it in a different way. I was like, you people are fucking idiots if and that's not really the approach that you're supposed to take, because what ends up happening is all this serious research. But I do like to say fuck off a lot in here. It just depends on who. At that time, I was all methed out, and I was just telling everyone to fuck off. But that was a good video, because I stand by it. Allen has not been ruled out. So we're going to find out what Lore Lodge says about Zodiac. Some of the concerns that I have right off the bat is that his videos are only 2 hours long? You're not going to be able to deep dive Zodiac in 2 hours. You can't even deep dive the Stein killing in 2 hours. You can't. We've tried. The people, we in our little core group of people who are the elite Zodiac researchers. What's up, Mr. GSV? And Mr. GSV is one of them. Our little elite core group of Zodiac Killer researchers and people that, and I don't go on Discord, so I might have been disqualified or kicked out, is very, very feasible. I think everybody has migrated to Discord, and I refuse to use it because I just don't like it. But like Lore Lodge is going to try to deep dive Zodiac in 2 hours. You can't deep dive Stein in 2 hours. We've tried it. We've tried to deep dive Stein, and the result is 8 people on a panel talking for 6 hours. And what new information has come up? Little, if any. Most of the discussion is us trying to figure out whether he was in the front seat or the back seat. You can't deep dive Zodiac in 2 hours. I can give you an hour discussion on Zodiac in the front or the back seat alone in the Stein killing. No problem. Like right now we're at what? It's only been a couple minutes. I'm not saying that we're going to do that. Not doing that. I have no interest in just doing that. But like right now it's been 6 minutes. There's 100 other trivial issues in the Zodiac case that I think are critical to the Zodiac case. That we could talk about for an hour. We've done it. You know, every episode of BBOR is... Now, that doesn't mean that everything in Zodiac is even worth talking about, because a lot of it's not. But I think deciphering... I shouldn't use that word, damn it. Determining whether or not Zodiac was in the front or the back seat is important, because it tells us where we should be looking for the DNA. I think that the research in Zodiac has just looked in the wrong direction. And I said this, and people were like, yeah, but people are going to look where they want to look. Yeah, I know. That's fair. Like, I think Druser said that, and he's one of the core group members of the Elite Zodiac Researchers, by the way. He was like, yeah, but people are going to look at what they want to do. I was like, yeah, but do you want to solve the case? And Druser, I think Druser gets it. Totally. He just doesn't think that they care, it seems to me. He's been like, yeah, they just won't look. It's like, well, what the hell? You know? But my niche in Zodiac is trying to figure out how to actually solve the case, not trying to, you know, look at the letters anymore. The letters are funny, I guess. Funny's a weird word, but guys, if the Zodiac hadn't been killing people, those would have been really good trolling letters. It's the whole killing people thing that just people don't like him anymore. You know, but he had talent as a troll, for sure. The bus bomb letters, a classic. Even if you could talk about the bus bomb for 4 hours, Lore Lodge. You don't even understand. If you're not gonna do it in one video. Let me warn you. If you're really gonna go down Zodiac Road, you might never come back out. Someone get Lore Lodge over to Discord and see if he ever comes back out. The entire channel is this Zodiac killer videos after that. Because there's too much. It's too much. Lore Lodge is in for a surprise when he goes to deep dive the Zodiac case. Because he's going to find out that you can't even cover Blue Rock Springs in 1 hour. Aren't you concerned about Nancy Guthrie? No, I keep seeing it in the news, but I don't know what was going on with it. I think that the FBI is on that right now. Because my capacity as a researcher or as a researcher comes from the release of publicly available information. And then interpretation of the publicly available information to determine potential scenarios or hypotheses that are unknown to history, unknown to man at this time. Sometimes I have the ability to say, hey, what if we look over here and then we can determine something? Like, I think that the only time I did that in Zodiac, and it wasn't even my idea, was putting grid squares over the 340 back in the day. And also showing where the 340 was divided. And then, well, let's look at that, and then we can determine something new about a case. But with the FBI doing this right now, I think the best thing to do is for Internet Sleuths to just let them do their jobs. Because look what happened in Idaho. You know, I can cover a current case. Like, I was involved in the hunt in the manhunt for the Charlie Kirk shooter. You know, I tried to push out a profile. I put a profile out on the offender before he was captured auto. And that was ongoing, but everyone was looking at that. As far as the Nancy Guthrie mystery, it sounds like one person is missing, and that the FBI has like multiple jurisdictional task force and the entire news media behind them right now. You should be in the FBI. I have a criminal record. that they won't allow you to be in the FBI with my record. But that's kind of, there's like there's researchers and historians and then investigators and enforcers and stuff. I'm already 29, so if I were going to go the whole route of like tactical things, I would have joined the military young and then gone from there into either the private sector or in the government as doing something like what you're saying, like FBI or whatever. But you would generally want to have military experience. Guys, remember when Eisenhower was the president and he had military experience and it like looked badass when he was on television? And now it's like, what the fuck is that thing on our TV? You really want to have military experience if you're going to be the guy getting the guys. Like, I'm not going to capture Nancy Guthrie's murderer. But if the case catches my attention in 3 years and there's new information or publicly available information, we can start diving it like the way that I've done in Zodiac, Neurons, etc., then that's all I can really actually do. But I did see that someone put out a composite sketch. Some person, I think they were a forensic artist though, just put out a composite sketch of this Guthrie suspect. The Guthrie suspect had a ski mask on, and they composite sketched him. And I was like, I don't know what that means. But that's fun. I've done that kind of stuff here with you guys who do composites of the people, try to figure out what they looked like. Is it useful? Is it going to identify the Guthrie kid? No, probably not. Especially, think of the plausible deniability you have in court if your composite sketch. I mean, a composite sketch doesn't come up in court anyway. But if it came up in court, imagine, and they're like, this composite sketch was made off of the guy who's wearing the ski mask in this photo. They're like, you can't even see his face. How did you make a composite sketch? And it just wouldn't be admissible. But I like the New Coke style. I think they watch my channel. Whoever that artist is that put the composite sketch out on the Guthrie case, I think that they watch New Cokes. Because I've been doing that here forever. And people were like, that's not what he looks like. It's like, it's pretty good. Zodiac, anyway. Better to have... Yeah, well, that's true, yeah. But you can change it up a little bit. Like, I like Cooper and Zodiac and Neurons. But if you branch out too much, you're not going to know anything. The Charlie Kirk situation was a lot of... I don't want to say fun because someone got shot in the neck, but it was an exciting time, little buzz going on here because I think that we were making progress. Now, the funny thing, this situation has been so revealing to me. Robinson, because they had a witness come forward and say, that's my son. But they had his picture blasted on every mainstream news article for like 2 days or a day and a half. And if it's already got to the news, then it's already been internally circulating in the investigation for another day or so, or half a day. The guys who discover it say, this is our shooter right here in this photo. Trump and Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I think that's just the way it's always going to be for assassination, is you just snipe somebody. It's the best way. It really is. Because I know that they talk, we got counter snipers and we have a perimeter. If you have a good enough weapon system, you could hit someone from so far away that nobody would fucking ever know where you were shooting from. Now, they might catch you. They're probably going to catch you. But if you rent it out, say you knew, where a politician, someone's going to be in 6 months. You rent out an apartment and you bury yourself in blankets and Mylar, so you defeat thermal signatures, and you wait from a clear line of sight from a kilometer and a half with a strong 50 cal. And as soon as he takes the podium, you just one shot to the head. I think that sniping people is just, aside from drone strikes, is really always going to be the bread and butter of assassination. You don't have to get close at all. No one can see you from that far away. The weapons are, especially now, are designed to do it. Our weapon system, I've been watching Cappy Army, guys. I'm getting updates on like modern weaponry because it's changed a lot in 20 years that I didn't even know about. Ammunition, metallurgy is better. Ammunition Primers are better. Ammunition propellant is just far more efficient and achieving higher pressures and higher velocities and ranges than I ever knew about. And sniping is just really the way to go. So it doesn't surprise me that they're similar. If you could do a drone strike like you can in Ukraine, I think people would do that too. But the problem is you have to get close, and it's that airspace. If someone sees, a quadcopter coming in 600 feet above them with a bomb strapped to it, floating them over the Trump podium, it's going to get shot down or it's going to get jammed. And they might even have on-site electronic warfare type jammers to stop drones at these events, especially now. But a sniper rifle, you just can't go wrong. The problem is that a lot of these guys don't have the technical ability to, and it's not a problem. That was a poor choice of words. The issue for the success of assassins and their activities is that a lot of them aren't technically skilled enough to pull the shot off. Shooting Charlie Kirk from 160 meters is really nothing at all. And that is the security at that event. If he had been, they tried to kill the Colombian president with a drone bomb. Yeah, and the drones. Now that makes you wonder who's put that up. I'd have to know the specs of the drone. I mean, is it something remarkable or is it just a consumer drone from Radio Shack? If it's something remarkable, then you have to wonder about state actors and their backing. But like, if Kirk had been anticipating that someone wanted to shoot him, they could easily have achieved the security to prevent that event. But the issue was that they just didn't anticipate it, and it's fair to expect them not to. Because realistically, the only thing you could have done, and it would have required Charlie Kirk's will to do so, would have been to only campaign at his Turning Point USA rallies from online. That would have been safer. But he was going to open air rallies and doing these things, and I think he underestimated the incendiary nature of the society that we're in, and someone shot him with a rifle. Now, if they had anticipated that rifle, 170 meters is nothing, and they could easily have locked down a much wider perimeter than that with counter sniping and with basic security in the nearby buildings. But when you start getting, a kilometer out, 1.5 kilometers out, and to the ranges that some of these better weapon systems, and you have military experience, fucking Trump would be dead. No doubt in my mind, because they don't have the ability to lock down perimeters that big. And especially if there's no chatter in the threat loops. Like if you're just making this up by yourself and not telling anyone what you're planning, and then you get an apartment building a mile away from a Trump rally, you could easily take him out with a 50 cal. I'm not recommending it. I'm not advocating this at all. I'm just telling people that's the way I think we're going to see assassinations happening, if they happen. Now, another part of the equation is preventative measures. Can you do it with retaliation, like locking someone up forever? It helps. But part of the issue is cultural. No, Sap, shut up. I'm not completely insane and retarded like you'd have to be to do that. Your life is over if you shoot the president, first of all. Because you might get away, but probably not. Especially it's such a big deal, you're guaranteed to be caught, basically. And then that's over. You're everything. And they would execute for that, for sure. I did hear that Mangione beat some charges. Capitano Mangione. I just don't like him. I don't like him. Resentment inventory for sure on Capitano Mangione. He's such a dirtbag. He comes into court acting like he's all hot shit. It's like, what the fuck? I hope the judge puts you under the jail, dude. Forever. Even, I don't agree at all with shooting the CEO of United Healthcare. I'm not for it. So I think he should be prosecuted for that and convicted for that and dealt with for that alone. But if he handled the situation with a little more fucking humility, at least I wouldn't be trashing on him so hard and hoping he gets the fucking death penalty. I do hope he gets the death penalty. Basically. I mean, I hate to say that. It's not really true. But you get what I mean. I hope that he gets LWOP, consecutive LWOPs, like 20, but that's not going to happen. Because they just don't like him. You know, you shoot somebody, it's like, have some fucking dignity the way that you go on your trial. Don't fucking pose for the cameras and act like you're fucking cool with your fucking 3D printed gun. It's not cool. Nothing you did is cool, Mangione. Maybe you believe in it politically or whatever, then fucking have some integrity about it and try to be a little more stoic if you're trying to make a political message, because right now you just look like a fame fag, honestly. That's where we are on Mangione. I was in Anonymous. I remember the fame fags. Mangione is a fame fag. I was kind of a fame fag back in the day. Yeah, I think so. Didn't he use a 3D printed gun? Can't remember for sure. He was cycling. It might have been the suppressor. That's why he was cycling. I don't know the case that heavily. But he might have printed a suppressor or something like that. And he was cycling the slide every time he fired. It's so ghetto. No, that was you're thinking of Tyler Robinson. Oh, you know what caused problems is I forgot to call Mangione his correct name. His correct name is Fumato Capturado, and Tyler Robinson's name is Capturado Robinson. So I kept calling him Capturado Mangione. It kind of threw stuff off, but it's Fumato Capturado that I was talking about. And that means smoked out and captured. I mean, how do you get caught at a McDonald's anyway? You're so dumb, Luigi. Posing for the camera is like you're hot shit. It's like you can't even go to McDonald's without getting arrested, you scumbag. At least go 3,000 miles from the crime scene before you fucking get a Big Mac, you dumbass. I just don't like him. I haven't liked him since day one, and people would show up like YouTube phone stream people. Hold on, I'm trying to smoke pot. It's just like a sad state of affairs to have Rolling Stone. Have they put him on the cover yet? Rolling Stone put the Boston bomber on the cover, and guys, I have issues with the Boston bombing, okay? I'm not sure that happened the way that we're told that happened, but maybe we were. What I will say is this. I'm going to put something on the screen, okay? And I think just look into it yourself. And if you want to believe me, you can. But at least look into it yourself. Just try. Yeah, because otherwise people are like, oh, it's fucking... It's like, dude, just read the whole art. It's really long, though. Not going to lie. All right, so this is the URL for the main site. I didn't look up the subdomain because whatever. But go here, and you can see an article about the Boston Marathon bombing. Center for InformedAmerica.com. Read that whole article on the Boston Marathon bombing. It's compelling. And my standards of conspiracy theory is pretty high, guys. At the same time, I did a conspiracy, and I was charged for conspiracy when I was only 21. So I know that they happen. That's another thing. People are like, conspiracy theories, that's stupid. It's like, I was charged for conspiracy. They happen. I was 21 years old. I had nothing, not a pot to piss in compared to the fucking elites. And imagine the conspiracies that they're fucking running. I guarantee you that they're running them. I would do the same exact thing in their position. I did that. Just not to that extent. Yeah, it's a more like childish version of what they're doing. What they're doing involves, Halliburton and other stuff. And mine was just getting high. But it's a conspiracy, and conspiracies happen. And if you're motivated by getting high and making an average living while doing it, then you'll be involved in a conspiracy. And then imagine what happens if you run the banking system. It's a nightmare. So there's definitely, but I need evidence. I think that the Center for Informed America did it, you know, on their site. I think it's very thorough, and it makes you wonder. But I don't like to get pro anybody after that. Like, say I discover that 9/11 is an inside job. I'm not going to be pro Hani Hanjour. Because, first of all, what if I'm wrong? Probably not, but still. What I will say is Hani Hanjour was a really good fucking pilot, allegedly. Just a master. Fighter jet with a fucking... He's flying a 737 like a fighter jet, and he's never even been in one before. He's been probably to get to America, though he might have taken a barge to get here because he's coming from, you know, you guys know where those guys supposedly came from. So they probably took an ARC to get here, and then they learned how to fly Cessnas, and then they piloted a 737 like it was a fighter jet. One try, perfect everything. Just everything was perfect. Guys, that's a really dumb story. It's really dumb that's what happened. When you have to get a little older and more jaded. I don't think that 29-year-old true crime investigators with experience in like certain scientific fields were the intended target of 9/11. I think the intended target of 9/11 was 18-year-old kids with a lot of testosterone who wanted to go kill people. And then they said, well, you need to go kill these guys, because that's what ended up happening. All that unity and everything that came in the United States after 9/11 essentially distilled out to, here's a bunch of 19-year-olds, go kill those guys. And this went on for 10 years or more. Almost 20 years. More than 20 years even. If you consider right now still the war on terror, which I guess it's a never-ending pit. That you can do that forever, war on terror, because you could just change the definition of terrorism forever to whatever you want it to be, which they've done. You know, they actually changed the definition of terrorism in the dictionary in the last 10 years. Originally, terrorism was using violence. It was the use of violence or coercion to achieve a political objective. And then it became the illegal use of violence or coercion to achieve a political objective. This was a recent change, and no one told... I just found it because I had to look up the definition a couple times over the course of the last 20 years. And so I looked up the definition, and it had changed, and no one said anything about this. But it became the illegal use. And so what does that mean? That means now that the government can call their actions lawful, and it's no longer terrorism. They can say, oh, well, we lawfully bombed that country because it was in our laws to do that. So that's not a terrorism charge anymore. So you need to change. I don't know how it's changed in the legal books, but you also need to change it in the cultural perspective. Because if you don't, you're not going to get people to be behind you. If people say, well, your actions are the definition of terrorism, then they say, well, no, it's not, because you have to be doing illegal activities for it to be terrorism, and we're the government. So we can do these things, and these are legal things. And so you need to swing the hearts and minds before you even worry about legal definitions. I don't know if those have changed. They might have. I'm not a lawyer. Ask a lawyer. But culturally, those definitions also need to change. And that's what I think is going on secretly. And it's funny, that's like a secret operation. We investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing. Correct. Yeah, and that's been the playbook for thousands of years, I bet you. None of this is new. That's the funniest part. People think all this shit's new. They were doing everything that the same in Greece and Rome, but they just had less technology with which to do it. But they were trafficking kids in ancient Greece, guys. They were doing all that stuff. And that was, what, 3,000 years ago? 4,000 years ago? Nothing is any... And so, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. It's what they have been doing for 200 years. In certain, you know... They wouldn't hijack American airplanes. They literally plotted it in Operation Northwoods and put it on paper and released it to you. Dude, you know how much... to become a government white paper that, like, gets fucking declassified and I can read about it on Wikipedia... That's not just like a backroom discussion, guys. They have backroom discussions. Okay, well, what do we do? And, that's just rich guys get together and brainstorm. For it to be on Wikipedia, there's some serious thought there. And they were going to hijack American airplanes, crash them into U.S. cities, and blame Cuba. So nothing has changed. It's the same plan. And if you look at Germany, like Nazi Germany in the 40s and what they were doing in the 30s and 40s, and then compare it to what's going, it's the same fucking thing. It's the same guys even. It's literally the same guys. It's not a conspiracy theory. And the only reason Wernher von Braun isn't still running the space program is because he didn't live long enough to. If he was still alive, he'd still be in charge. Just Nazis just put him in charge of the government. That's fine. Could be a lot better than the alternative. Guys like Larkin Rose, who have been... I liked Larkin Rose, and now he's tripping. He's tripping. He's in some little corner of the internet, still mad about his taxes. It's like, dude, get over it. We get it. You don't like the government? Go fucking homestead. And tell people to do it. But don't complain about your fucking taxes from 900 years ago. No one cares anymore, Larkin. You have to put this. We're gonna go on memento hiatus, little break time. So if you need to pee, oh no, not that terrible, sir. Memento hiatus. Why is that picking up feedback from there? It's so bizarre. How did that happen? So I guess we got from Charlie Kirk to 9/11 or something. 9/11 always comes up because it's like, it's kind of the gold standard of like conspiracies exist, guys, and bad ones. Pretty serious motherfucking conspiracies. 9/11 was no joke. I mean, that's pretty bad. I think it's the worst we've ever seen. Even like starting a ground war where way more people are killed than 9/11 has like less sinister feel to it. Because it's a little less like planned and orchestrated. It's kind of like, okay, we're going to go attack that country. 400,000 guys die. Okay, well, that happens. And it's pretty bad. And then that's another thing is like they're starting wars. Is that not the same exact thing as doing 9/11? I don't understand the difference. But 9/11 was just a little more clandestine and more direct. And it was like, holy shit, you guys are fucking crazy, dude. So it's the gold standard. So when people say, oh, there's no conspiracy. It's like, yeah, the fuck there is. There's still people who are online trying to say that the goddamn thermite in the dust is from painted beams. That's retarded as fuck. That's so dumb. Oh, yeah, sure. Same grain size and everything. Ratios are down to nanothermic. Yeah, okay. You couldn't be in the FBI, but you could be a private eye. Yeah. Most of the time, I think, what are they chasing? People who are having an affair? Most of the time, the private eyes. We investigate ourselves and found no wrongdoing. We saw that. But, okay, so the Kirk thing, guys, the range involved here, there is no, like, I've been on here publicly saying that if Candace Owens needs substance abuse treatment, I have resources, and I mean it. You know, seriously, you guys, if Candace Owens needs fucking substance abuse treatment, call or email. My email's right there. Candace Owens, for real. Because The things that Candace Owens has been saying online are crazy. Just crazy stuff. It's not real. It's not real, Candace Owens. Okay. I think that there's amphetamine involved, because what happens with amphetamine is there problems will occur that are real things. You know, for example, if you are doing amphetamine, but you're also trafficking darknet bars or something, the cops are probably looking at you. But the amphetamine kind of makes you spin out and not really know what's real and what's not, and then all these elaborate components get added that weren't really there, and I think that's where Candace Owens is on Charlie Kirk. It's definitely amphetamine, though. It's gotta be. Does anyone notice if let me look at her cheek sizes. Because if her cheeks and her face has gotten more sucked in the last, whatever, year or two, then obviously that there's meth involved in that. Okay, let's find out. And she might be doing pharmaceutical grade and eating, so it does not rule it out if her cheeks aren't sucked in. Because I think behavior speaks more. And seriously, Candace Owens, if you need treatment... Oh, she's on meth for sure. Yeah, she's totally on meth. Alright. Look at her crazy tweaker eyes. She's on meth, dude. It has to be. You know. And that... Couple that with the grief of... supposedly they were friends, but I'm not feeling it right now. Doesn't look like the actions of your friend, what Candace Owens has been doing. I think she's trying to get... She's another fame fag. She's like Luigi Mangione. Fumato Capturado. They're just a bunch of fame fags. That's why we even know who they are. Because if they weren't fame fags, we wouldn't be talking about them. And that's their goal. You know. But I think that they hope that people are like, have you seen... Because this is the reaction that I keep getting in real life. People come up to me and they're like, have you seen Candace Owens' theories on Charlie Kirk? And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And you can't tell them that. Because they're believing it. And I just don't even want to have these discussions in real life because they go on forever and no one ever changes their mind. But it's like, oh no. They're like, yeah, it was the deep state. It's like, no, it's not. I put it in my Facebook bio, says I'm in the deep state now. Everything's the fucking deep state, apparently. Oh, recently I took a ladder to get up onto a rooftop. And it was not cool. Like, it was cool once I was up there, but getting up and over the roof and coming back down was horrible. And there's absolutely no way in my mind that that the deep state would jump off of that roof that Tyler Robinson jumped off of. So it's not the deep state, obviously. Obviously, that's not how they operate. Can Candace Owens address that? Would the deep state jump off of the roof? No. Why? What? You would take the stairs. I even said like a year, that wasn't a year ago, it was a couple months ago, I said, they'd bring a rope ladder. They don't even have, there's video footage of him going up the stairs. That famous photo everyone was looking for him? We were looking for him even over here on New Coast. We were looking for him. And they're like, here's the photo of the offender. And he's like walking up the stairs. So there are stairs on this building. The deep state would take those or a ladder. If they needed to exfiltrate from that corner of the roof, which I guess, then they would, at the worst, fast rope down with a single cable and a carabiner clip. You could get down, and gloves. You could get down there instantly, safely. Be a little sketchy, but not for most special operators. The guys, they Candace Owens, they came from all the way from Israel and jumped off the roof. Okay. Dumb. It's like that South Park sketch with Joseph Smith being dumb. It's the same thing, but worse. At least those people have a religion to go with it, which is good. Fine. Candace Owens has got some weird fucking religion coming. The deep state roof jumpers. So all the way back, circle all the way around to Lore Lodge. Does anyone talk to him? If you talk to him, just tell him that New Coke says this. Tell Lore Lodge that New Coke says, if you really intend to deep dive the Zodiac, it's going to take you a lot longer than the length of any of your longest videos. I think it's going to be a lot more consistent with your Sebastian Rogers project, where it went on and Zodiac is going to. Don't get bogged down on ciphers. Don't get bogged down on letters. Address the letters. Say which ones happened, and credit them correctly if they're real or fake. You're gonna have to research it and find out. I'm not gonna just. It's just too much to enumerate everything. What's real and what's not and why. But find out. And then don't get stuck on the letters. Get stuck on the crime scenes. We want people stuck on the crime scenes in Zodiac. That's what the biggest thing that I want to push out to everybody. So you're going to get stuck in Zodiac, get stuck in the crime scenes. That's where the evidence is. The evidence is not in puzzles and ciphers. That's stupid. That's a distraction, and it's exactly what Zodiac wants you to look at. Because it will never lead you to the identity of the killer. The ciphers and letters. But at the same, R.P. Ackerman's work is good, but it doesn't prove anything. That's the thing. We've figured out a lot in Zodiac, and we just can't prove it. So, Lore Lodge, the last thing I'll say, Arthur Lee Allen is not ruled out. He's not ruled out. He might not be the Zodiac. I'm not saying you have to think he's the Zodiac, but he's not ruled out. The only thing it would take for Allen to have been the Zodiac would be to wear a wig at the crime scenes. He was positively identified by 2 different witnesses. By the way, I read the files. That's news for you. I read the Michael Mageau photo lineup files, and I read the Donald Falk lineup report. The reports of them identifying Allen. Both of them, Mageau emphatically identified Allen. Falk said something that was very different from, what we've been led to believe by people about what he thought. You have to find the file again because I don't want to misquote anything and say anything wrong. But what I'm telling you is that when the Falk report or the interview with Baywart, and the files are now out, I think they're on Reddit. He doesn't say the anti-Allen stuff that has been pushed. And if you want a really solid one, it's Mageau, because he just points at the photo and says he's 85% sure that's the guy that shot him. And those identifications were not the sloppy bullshit that people have been claiming. So the only thing it would take is for Allen to have worn a wig. That's it. That's all it would have taken. People want to say fingerprints don't match the Steinkab. Okay, prove that, because I don't think you can. Or show me that Allen's handprints don't match the Steinkab. Show me. I'm not just going to accept that claim. Because I could say that about anybody if I want to. Easy. And I've seen those prints, and they're terrible quality, so good luck on showing me anything with them. I've tried. I've looked at them. It's garbage quality. I've lobbied for higher resolution scans of those prints. It's not worked. We still are stuck with our 125 by 230 pixels. Nonsense. But, yeah, Quentin, go check out those files on Reddit. I think maybe Waffle Deal posted them or something. Waffle Deal 241 is the user that's it's been hitting hard on Allen. Because, guys, Allen is... The more that comes out, it's just... The more of a rap it becomes, I think. But you have to prove it. It isn't enough. You can document all day, and you need to prove it. So just don't say it's not Allen. Don't act like you're conclusively sure, Lore Lodge, that it's not Allen, because you can't do that. And if you do that, I'm just going to turn your video off and respond to it. If you're going to deep dive Zodiac, just remember that there's people who have been here for a long time. And some a lot longer than me. And that's the reaction that I was met with getting into Zodiac. I started doing content on Zodiac, and it was like, oh, there's people who've been here for 20 years who all they think about is Zodiac. you better have some accurate information. Or if you don't know if your information's accurate, then tell us that you're not sure. But the idea of barging onto the Zodiac scene with some kind of conviction of something, look at what happened to the Hillians. The Hillians came on with a lot of certainty, and where are they now? No one knows. No one cares, right? Don't become them. It was a bad move. I don't think it made any money. I really don't think that lowering Dale Hill brought revenue to anybody at all. That was the plan. That was their whole plan. Everybody knows it. Just to try to make some money. But it's not a cash cow, Zodiac. I almost want to start telling people they should write Zodiac books for money because it's gonna work so poorly that if they're willing to do that, then they must be very desperate to get Zodiac money. So people are like, what the fuck? It's a new Coke stream. Going for a while, dude. Anyway, so if Lore Lodge comes to the scene, there's an active Zodiac scene. Now it's kind of dying off. I don't know if that's just because I'm not on Discord. Guys, is it because I'm not on Discord? People hate that I don't like Discord, it seems. They're like, you need to contact New Cokes on Discord. Like, no, he doesn't use that. It's like, how dare he? Boycott him. No, people are still here. A lot of times I think they don't get a notification or something. And I'm not one of those people like subscribe, turn on notifications. So they don't remember to do that, I guess. The only person that really whose creative output suffers as a result of you guys not being here is me. Because then I don't know what to talk about and you guys come up with good ideas. That's how it's been. Remember the garage at Walnut when I had the puppets and the My Suspect is NASA? That entire show was fueled by everybody else except for me. I didn't do much on there except discuss it. But all the ideas were like we had Paul Stein's cat, many things. I mean, you can't even... Lore Lodge, if you're going to dive this case, you have to spend an hour figuring out if Gajkowski still owned Paul Stein's cat. It's just... Whoa. Pouring rain out there or something? What does this say? I used to be an Allen guy and so did Voight, but then I realized I don't believe Don Chaney or Spinelli. Oh. You don't have to... Spinelli is telling the truth, I think. But if you don't believe him, that's fine. But Don Chaney, you don't have to believe him for Allen to be Zodiac. Because Chaney was lying to the police. I think I have the video, Don Chaney Solution. Now go watch it. Chaney was lying to the cops, but it doesn't mean Allen's not Zodiac. So maybe it's Allen. Seems the reason that Voight went away from Arthur Lee Allen is because of the partial DNA profile, and then that was shown to be garbage. It's like a male profile they pulled off of a stick in the middle of Kansas, and they're like, it doesn't match Allen. Like, no shit. It doesn't fucking match Allen. It's from the outside of a stamp. So like 119 people. I'm surprised they even got... What does that even mean, a partial profile, by the way? People are... You know, it could be two... What are they called? Nucleotide lineups of chemicals? Here's this acid and this acid, and it got two pieces of the male profile. It's partial profile, doesn't match Allen. That's dumb. Of course, it probably doesn't. He's probably wearing gloves when he put it in the mailbox. Wouldn't you? I love this idea. Dude, of course the Zodiac was wearing gloves when he wrote his fucking letters. And then you go, what about the palm print on Little List? It's a fake. It's always been a fake. Oh, it's not on the list. Sorry, it's on the Exorcist. I meant. What I mean to say is the little list doesn't have a fingerprint, and it's 9 pages long, and neither does the Bus Bomb, and that's 7 pages long. So the debut is 3 pages long. And the 3-part letter is 6 pages to different agencies. The Stein letter is a page. There's all these artifacts from Zodiac, and none of them have any fucking fingerprints on them because, of course, he was wearing gloves. Why would you not? Fingerprints was the number one way that crimes were solved back, like forensically, that crimes were solved back then. You had fingerprints and ballistics and witness identification. That's it. There's no anything else. Witness identification was huge, and fingerprints obviously was huge. Fingerprints was the DNA of the 60s. And so if you're going to be mailing prolific 9-page ramblings to the newspapers, you're going to definitely fucking wear gloves after you've just killed 5 people. So then they go, well, there's a palm print on the Exorcist letter. It's a fake. It has to be a fake. Duh. I'd fake it. No, it's impossible. No, it's not. No, it's not. I've shown it. I demonstrated it last New Coke's channel that you can fake fingerprints on paper. I wish I had ninhydrin. If I had ninhydrin, oh man, the fucking experiments that we'd be doing, you guys would be insane. Because there would be some stuff, if I had ninhydrin and a DNA profiling briefcase, like the one in One Battle After Another, I don't know if those exist. I think they do. But go watch One Battle After Another, there's a DNA briefcase. If I had that and ninhydrin, we would be determining a lot of new stuff with Zodiac. Because we would know, did the ninhydrin completely destroy any chance of recovering a DNA profile from a letter? And is the Exorcist letter fingerprint planted? I think it's planted. The other thing too, guys, is I ran the experiments with like ink on my palm, so that I would leave patent writer's palm prints and show where they are without having to develop them with ninhydrin. And when I wrote a very short page letter, like the Exorcist letter, you had palm prints. Yeah, witness ID is bullshit. Yeah, that's completely correct. But that's not how the law sees it. That's just how New Coke sees it. And you had writer's palm prints going down the page. Like overlapping writer's palm. Because think about it. As you're writing, you write one line, you move the pen down, and you write over, and you're crossing over it with your palm again, and you go down to 3, and your palm's going to go blop, 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 down the page. And the Exorcist letter is not one line. It's a page of writing. Not very much writing on the page, but it goes down the length of the page. And the palm prints that I was leaving on this paper was bing, 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 all the way down to the end of the writing. Well, it's not what you see on the Exorcist letter. There's just one fucking palm print in the middle of the fucking page. Maybe 2 or something. There's nothing. I could show it on here. You can see it. It was developed with ninhydrin, and you can see the palm print on the Exorcist letter. There's like 1 or 2 of them. And that's not what happens when you leave a writer's palm print. It goes down the length of the page, and his doesn't. And so that's not a real fingerprint. It's bullshit. And I could make that. All you need to do is take a paraffin mold of anything. You can even, you can take a paraffin mold of anything. Ideally, a right-hand palm print, this part. And then you could just roll that paraffin mold in like oil of some kind. Is it animal oil or any kind of skin oil, even your own skin oil if you're not worried about DNA. Roll that in your own skin oil and deposit it on the page, and it will develop with ninhydrin, because the ninhydrin will react with the amino acids in the oil. The Nancy Guthrie case, they found 40 people who purchased the holster type of the perp in the video, and now they're going to check that against gun make purchase list. They know the gun type. Nice. Good. Yeah, these guys are so dumb. They're always using, and he's going to keep the fucking holster. It's like the Night Stalker. Oh, I guess he threw away his shoes, but what fucking idiot. Like, these guys, they bring the same shit over and over again. He's going to have it in his possession. He's going to get Capturado. It's too high profile at this point. Light one up for Jerome. Casey's. This is a very Belgian thing to do, I think. Tobacco and concentrates on top of it. That's what the Belgians do. They put wax on their tobacco. It's a practicality thing. Quentin. Wow. That was really one for Jerome right there. Quentin, what's the circumstances in this case? Why is this person missing? Someone came and abducted them, and they're hunting for him. Something about a doorbell camera. Do we know if Guthrie's alive or is she dead? She's probably dead, right? I think if she were still alive, there would be developments. Because I've been seeing it on the news for days now. Every time I open a new tab in my browser. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I've been using it for like, scraping the dabs onto and then dumping them from there. Even the flour little bits from the thing. But especially the oil. Because it's all hardened to a glass surface, so it has to be scraped off onto a Uno card. Which is a yellow 8 for some reason. Why, yeah, I think she's probably dead. The offender might have killed himself. What do we know about him? Quentin, you might get me with the bug right now on this. What do we know about this guy? Tell me everything you know about him, Quentin Broom. Because I want to determine, is he still alive? How does this person react when the entire world's media is out to get them and all of the law enforcement in America? I mean, I don't even think Bin Laden lasted as long as they say he did. Oh, that's a fun argument, or fun debate, by the way, is whether or not what's his name? Rob O'Neill shot Bin Laden. I think everybody's tripping, and maybe he did. If the raid happened the way that we're told it happened, then I believe O'Neill. I think everybody's a hater. But if it didn't happen, then that would explain why there's a lot of dispute about who shot Bin Laden, because it didn't happen. They don't know if alive or if it was kidnapping or murder or burglary gone bad. Blood on porch. Dead. She's dead. How much blood? Like a noticeable quantity. It's probably not enough to kill her, but it goes to show the violence, I think, of the offender. Okay, so they don't know if alive is kidnapping, murder, or burglary gone bad. Is anything missing from the home? And if so, what? Let me think about some things here. This guy has a holster. He goes to a residence. He's seen on the doorbell camera or something like that, and that's how that composite sketch comes up. But he's ski masked in the video. What's the time of day of the offense? Nighttime or daytime? That's one of the first questions I really should have asked you is, what time of day does this offense happen? And just to fill the dead air while we wait for Quentin's answer, the reason that I ask that is because most burglaries that are for profit, like profit-driven burglaries, are committed during the daytime when homeowners are not home. Sexually motivated burglaries, especially hot prowls and cat burglary, because cat burglary is very, very frequently, and much more frequently than people realize, conducted for sexually driven motivations. And so if you have a burglar or an intruder who comes, there are ransom notes, maybe 2 people. They have glove DNA waiting for and DNA in the house. Nothing missing, small blood, but looks aspirated. Okay. 2 a.m. Okay. Yeah, because burglaries generally aren't occurring at 2 a.m. It's a different, you get a different crowd and a different type of crime in the middle of the night. That's something that we kind of learned from Irons, I think. And I think it's valuable information that if somebody is breaking into a house at 2 o'clock in the morning, the first thing that they're going to basically you have to assume is that the person is expecting that house to be occupied at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're not expecting the homeowner to be somewhere at work or whatever it is, unless that person works night shift. I don't think Guthrie falls into that category. But if people are breaking into the house at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're there for a confrontation. Or they're a cat burglar who also is sexually motivated and is getting off on the concept of being in someone's home while they're home at night while they're asleep. It's not because they're there to take their TV at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. When you come to steal a TV, you dress up as movers and you show up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Because they've gone to lunch, they're back at their work schedule, the mail has made its rounds, blah, 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 blah. 1 o'clock, still the work day. You could show up as a mover, and just cart expensive shit. And this is how a lot of residential burglaries are really going on, especially organized circles of them. These guys will show up looking like they belong there, and they'll take everything out in the middle of the day. So 2 o'clock in the morning is telling me that there's a sexual component of this crime. And if you have a sexual component of the crime, you have a very dangerous situation because that offender, there's blood. You're saying there's blood in the front. That offender is violent, and that offender is sexually driven in their violence. And that trying to stop someone like that, they're going to do a lot of damage before you can identify them. It's just the nature of the game because that person is not driven by money. It's a need. Had a very big backpack full, and he showed up to the burglary with a very big. It's not a burglary then. It's just not anyone's. The time of day basically convinces me that this is no burglary. But if the offender showed up at that crime scene with a full backpack, it's definitely not a burglary, and there's probably a kill and ransom or a kill and kidnap kit in that luggage. It's not being brought there to take jewelry out of the premises, out of the crime scene. But I think that the burglary angle is kind of thrown around as just, it's a possibility. Yeah, it's possible, but it's fucking insanely unlikely. And there's ransom notes. This is premeditated. It's not a burglary gone bad. I have to pee. 1 second. Stand by. You have a lot of food in there, so no, don't you be acting like you hungry. Let me see what you have. You guys have so much food, it's ridiculous. Are you drinking your water? Okay, so chewing on the information that Quentin has given me in the last minute and a half, however long it's been. Here's what I'm thinking is going down. I can't give you a case theory, of course, because this is everything I know about the Guthrie case right now is in the chat. It's everything I know, except the composite sketch thing. And it's thanks to Quentin. If it's one person, which I kind of think it is there evidence of a second person, or is this conjecture? If it's conjecture, I'm sticking to one guy. The reason is because This appears to be a sexually motivated crime. The ransom could be fake for Bitcoin. Oh, gosh. Bitcoin. I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that. I think it's a distraction and cover story while Guthrie is disposed of. Or something. I don't know. But is there evidence for 2 people, or is this something people say, there might be 2 offenders? Because if it's a sexually motivated burglary at 2 o'clock in the morning, generally you don't have that many friends who are into the same kind of things as you are to the point where they're going to go do a sexually motivated burglary at 2 o'clock in the morning with you. It's pretty rare. Statistically speaking, now that could be. That happens. Sure, there's, multiple offenders that could operate together that might be sexually attracted to when one walking path connects one neighborhood to another, but it's pretty fucking rare that you're going to have someone with those specific paraphilias breaking into houses at 2 o'clock in the morning, abduction, blah, 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 and that they're going to get along with each other and they're going to operate with each other because they're clearly not stable individuals, and generally these kinds of conspiracies fall apart. If it is 2 people, then they're there for a specific reason. Now, the reason could be this ransom scheme. If so, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, and they should be captured fairly quickly because it's just not a good scheme. It's like I watched a Forensic Files episode last night, and this lady's master plan was to sue the Navy. I was like, are you fucking retarded? They had like a whole murder conspiracy cooked up, these 2 morons, to sue the Navy. And then the guy double-crossed her. Which is exactly the kind of situation that I'm telling people is going to happen when you have 2 sexually motivated offenders committing burglary hot prowls at 2 o'clock in the morning, complete with abduction and Bitcoin ransom addresses. Those people are fucking completely insane. There's no chance that they get along with each other. So I think it's very rare that there's going to be 2 offenders. Now, unless there's evidence for 2 offenders. If there is evidence for that, Quentin, drop that in there too, because that can change the narrative of what's going on here. No evidence for 2. Guy in video, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's okay. I'm calling it for sexually motivated offender on drugs. That's my I think it's a compulsion-driven, probably stimulant user, or just drug user in general. The reason that I pick on stimulants with this stuff, guys, is because people who do downers like fentanyl and heroin and opioids and stuff, they're not really running around at 2 in the morning as much as the people who abuse stimulants, because those people are definitely running around at 2 o'clock in the morning with ski masks on. So no evidence for 2. Yeah, I don't think there is 2 offenders. These people don't get along. They just don't. Savannah Guthrie, $40 million net worth is her daughter. Oh, so it's, yeah, I mean, it might be a guy who saw movies. I guess when I say burglaries happen during the day, I'm kind of pointing to more of like the ones where they come out of your house with your television. Not so much the kidnap. It's definitely a premeditated kidnapping and abduction. Is it sexually motivated, or did someone see a movie and think that you do that at 2 o'clock in the morning? It is what I want to know. Because that doesn't have to be done at 2 o'clock in the morning either. That's more complicated. Kidnap her away from her home in the middle of the day. If you're a professional. I think a professional kidnapper, someone who actually knows what they're doing, blah, 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 is the Black Ops type guy, is going to take someone like that in a secluded area in the middle of the day. In a place where there's no other people and stuff, and they could be lured. A professional could do this kind of stuff, I think, without breaking in at 2 o'clock in the morning on Ring doorbell. That's dumb. Because now look at what you have, the composite sketch. If you kidnapped, you're a target in the middle of the day, 5 miles from the nearest security camera or whatever, and don't bring your cell phone, fucktard. There's not going to be any indication of who the fuck took that person or even where they went at all. People are going to be like, what the fuck happened? They have no clue. They have no way to know. They might be able to look at their last known cell pings, but they're not going to see any other cell phone activity in that area. There's just going to be the person disappeared, basically. That's how a professional, I think, would go about this. Gun and holster straight at the crotch and unmasked. Yeah, he's like a fucking idiot that plays Battlefield who's going to get... Dude, I've already got this guy pegged. Your offender is between 20 and 30 years old. He probably has a history with fucking video games and online communities like fucking Discord and fucking whatever else the kids are playing these days. I mean, Call of Duty or something. I don't fucking know. But he hangs out with his friends on the fucking Discord and they fucking play war games. And he knows about Bitcoin because he just turned 15 last week or whatever. He's between 20 and 30, though. I'm calling it for that. And thinks that Bitcoin is cool, hot, and trendy. I'm thinking maybe young 20s. I'd have to see a photo of the guy in the mask again to really substantiate anything like that. But I think he's young 20s. And he thinks Bitcoin's badass. And he saw this in a movie once where you go and kidnap someone from a house in the middle of the night on Ring doorbell camera. That's not how a professional kidnaps somebody. It's just, and they don't ask for Bitcoin because Bitcoin's completely traceable. You can launder, like I've laundered Bitcoin, but I wasn't killing people on CBS News, guys. I was a computer hacker and a drug dealer. So for a computer hacker and a drug dealer, Bitcoin's good. You can launder your money, and I wasn't even a computer hacker. It's a stupid thing to say. I was a script kiddie with computer hackers who hung out with computer hackers, and I didn't really know very much. And I was young, but by then I got a little older and went to drugs. And in that kind of crime, you can launder and hide Bitcoin no problem at all. No one's looking. No one's going to find it. You're good. If you do this kind of shit, you can't even use the Bitcoin ever again or do anything at all. And I don't think this person understands that. That's what tells me he's very naive and criminally inexperienced. Because I understood that by the time I was 20. 19, 18. And I got on the train even a little late for Bitcoin. I was a couple years late for when really, because if I bought it at 1-to-1 with the US dollar, I'd be a very rich man right now. And I didn't do that because I wasn't there early enough. But in my time, you knew that if you fucking kidnap someone with a gun, you're not going to be able to use your fucking Bitcoin ransom, you fucking idiot. I think that the aspirated blood comes from a blow to the face. Also tells me amateur offender. This is an amateur offender. Ransom wasn't left at the scene, but 2 days later, encrypted very well. Yeah, it's just, that's what another thing that tells me he's a Discord kind of guy. It's very easy to encrypt something. It's not special. The news won't get that right. I think you're gonna get reports that that sound like encryption is some kind of advanced thing, but it's actually very, very simple now. There's completely open source programs that can do AES, high profile encryption on drives, partitions, and devices with the couple clicks of the mouse. Any idiot could do it. It's nothing at all special, and it's probably AES 256-bit encryption. Anyone could do it. There's nothing special there. And the fact that, so the ransom's not left at the scene. I don't know why. That might be. I think it's a similar situation with Zodiac and Paul Stein where, like, the true motivations of the offender are not revealed to us until he has had a chance to do some damage control and to determine the speed with which he becomes connected to the crime publicly. So, like, kidnap Guthrie, for example, and then lay low for, like, 2 days. And when everything is kind of put in place and you have your Bitcoin address retarded shit set up and you got all your fucking ski mask has been thrown away, whatever the fuck else this idiot's doing right now, wait a little bit and then now drop the ransom so now you can start moving on to phase 2, 3, 4, 5 of the operation. I think that's what we're seeing. So there's it's an element of like an Asperger's guy planning something and he's doing certain things logically and other things like he thinks he's in Mission Impossible, and that's not smart. That's not what professional kidnappers do. They don't act like Tom Cruise. They don't. Because it doesn't work. He's going to get caught. Gun and holster straight at the crotch. Never, I mean, God, I've seen even experienced people put a high caliber weapon right down the center of their fucking pants line. It's like, are you retarded? Are you honestly retarded? You shouldn't be handling a firearm if you're going to do something like that. Put it to your fucking hip. That's what holsters are invented for. Not to be pointed there. So then it makes you wonder if a person's firearm experience. But I've seen people with firearm experience do stupid fucking things like that. So it's hard to say. But I'm calling him he's 20 to 30 years old. And I think I'm maybe on the low side. But also, I don't think he's in that mid-range. I think he's either late 20s or early 20s. Just something about it feels like that. Any attempt to cash out on that ransom, collect that ransom, develop that ransom will not succeed, and will result in the apprehension of this offender. So the money you can already count it's lost. It's too much it's too high profile. Even, and especially if there's, so the murder, violence involved, yeah, maybe she's alive, maybe she's not. We'd like to see some proof of life. I can't tell based on the facts that are in the chat right now if I think she's still alive. But if the blood is aspirated, it could be from a blow to the nose. Is it because you said small blood? A nosebleed will bleed a lot. It could be just a blow to the face or the mouth, which kind of makes me think unprofessional. A professional person, a kidnapper, will put you at ease, depending on the circumstances. You know, they could just throw you in a van in the middle of nowhere, like I was mentioning earlier, and that would actually be more effective. But if you're in kind of an urban environment and in like a Kohberger sneaking around type environment, houses in the middle of the night, for example, a professional kidnapper needs to keep you at ease, give you hope, and gain your compliance. And they could do it with either a firearm or, you know, just be a firearm and a smooth talker at the same time. Very fucking dangerous because you'll just follow them and you'll be comfortable doing it. That's what and it would never require a punch to the face. So that also tells me amateur offender who's trying to do takeover style compliance gaining. I don't know if if this is differentiated with people, but the acquisition of a victim's compliance, is that broken down into takeover style versus manipulation style? Because I think manipulation style is more effective than takeover. This guy's a takeover kind of guy. I'll punch you in the face. Come with me, motherfucker. Point a gun at you. Manipulation style is like, everything is going to be okay. You're going to live, but you have to follow me. And just do what I say. And everything is going to be fine. It's just about money. But it might not be about fucking money. That's why I never follow somebody who says that. Ever. Never let someone who's telling you that they're there for your money tie you up in the night or take you anywhere. Ever. Kill them. Some Bitcoins are untraceable. Nah. Not with murder. It's just, because all it is blockchain analysis, and the blockchain analysis can be very complicated, it can be very simple. If it's a murder, it justifies extremely complicated blockchain analysis, AI-driven now especially. It's different now. Artificial intelligence could run very, very in-depth blockchain analysis to trace any separation of those Bitcoins into different wallet addresses and so forth, and then where those wallet addresses converge, and then where that they're eventually cashed out. Because you have to consolidate the Bitcoin to a cash out location or multiple cash out points, where sort of the hops in the blockchain are now going to be terminated because the Bitcoin's being converted to U.S. currency or some other currency. And they will follow those blockchain branches forever if there's a murder involved. If you're a computer hacker and fucking anonymous and whatever, they don't care. No one fucking cares. I know that Topiary thinks he was important, but he's not important. Never was important. Except to, you know, the kids who... I was one of those people. But in the long run, you know, like, are we going to trace your Bitcoin for the next 15 years? No one cares about LulzSec. But Guthrie, they're going to look at you for... They will do 25 years of blockchain analysis if that's what it takes to find where the fuck your Bitcoin went. Especially if she's dead. If Nancy Guthrie is dead, they will not stop until they find this person. Makes you wonder if he's committed suicide already, too. They have to know more. You know, take a lesson from what Irons didn't do and leave the fucking country or kill yourself, offender. You know, they'll find you. If there's... Oh, and I forgot to mention, Quentin said there's DNA in this case. It's over. Goodbye. Why are we talking about this? DNA it's what I say. It's the gold standard now. So, if they have that DNA, you won't need any other information to solve this. We're at a position... I don't know what the audio sounds like. It's probably getting feedback. Terrible sounds. But stay quiet. for Jerome. Look out. Bitcoin was kind of marketed as being untraceable. And in some practical senses, for depending on your level of crime, it was untraceable. Like, no one was going to trace my blockchain money launderings from when I was 18, 19 years old. Because it's not really that important. So in that sense, Bitcoin was very secure and safe and blah, blah, blah. For this guy, that doesn't exist. Because this is a violent crime. It's very high profile. And he will be caught. Remember when all you guys had to wait for was my vaping? What is that feedback? That's terrible. I would let the FBI take care of this. You're going to see online sleuths coming out right now to do this case. And they're just not going to do anything. They're not going to get anything done in the case. It's going to be the FBI who just solves it. Because we don't have access. Look at, if I want to give you guys what I think is an accurate, true assessment of information, look how limited it is. DNA hasn't been verified as to whom is, but will be ran through CODIS in the next 24 hours. I wouldn't even, bother with CODIS, but CODIS is not the main event anymore because now we have investigative genetic genealogy, and it's so much more effective than CODIS. CODIS is the quick legal textbook way to do it, and if you get a hit in CODIS, then great. You'll have absolutely no trouble at all with prosecution because it's sort of the official way to do it. Is the official way to do it. Doing it with investigative genetic genealogy is space-agedly effective. And it might take a little longer, but we're at a point with IgG now where there really aren't complications doing it. Koberger's was done in 6 days or something like that, was it? Or am I thinking 6 weeks? Koberger's IgG was done in 6 weeks. They knew who he was. From DNA on the button snap. And now it might have been, fluid DNA. We used to think it was touch DNA. It doesn't appear to be touch DNA anymore. It appears to have been, primary transfer, like bodily fluid DNA. That might have been semen on the sheath. Not sure. We don't know. That's been postulated. But within 6 weeks, the DNA was developed into a suspect. And then once you have the suspect, life becomes very easy because all you need to do is do surreptitious DNA sample collection, and you identify your offender. And Eurons was the testing ground for that. That worked amazingly well, exactly as described. Investigative genetic genealogy, then on-site surveillance of the suspect, and then surreptitious DNA sample collection, and then the identification is confirmed that way. Now, you already know it's him because you've already run the IgG, and of course it's D'Angelo. Of course it's Brian Koberger. Who else can it be when he's the guy who lives in this area, is obsessed with blah, 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 all these things, right? Who the circumstances are. So, yes, they already know by the time the IgG is done who the fuck it is. It's just the surreptitious DNA sample confirms it down to the odds of 1 in 20 trillion, bajillion, gillion, where you'd have to multiply the population of the Earth 900 times to make a dent in the probability factor of whether or not this was the person who committed this crime. And so if they get a hit in CODIS, great. I don't think that they will. I think if they had a hit in CODIS, they would already have solved it. CODIS is instant. They say, we'll be ran through CODIS in 24 hours. They're not fucking around. They're not waiting to do that. That's, your DNA is developed so fast now. Like, If they've announced it, they said we have DNA, then they develop the profile, and the developed profile, it's already been run through CODIS. It's so, everything is so designed to do that now. So they might not have a hit, which wouldn't surprise me. CODIS is a very, very limited database. CODIS is disillusioningly limited. You know, it's demoral. It's like, we got DNA, we're going to run the SNP profile through CODIS. It's like, all right, whatever, good luck. Why don't you run it through 23andMe? You'll get more done. You really will. And GEDmatch. Because you don't need the DNA of the offender. You only need the DNA of his fucking fourth cousin. So it could be anybody. You give like everybody's cousins then fucking GEDmatch. Almost. And if not, then one of their cousins has. And it's just, they'll build your family tree. They will take their time. They have to. If you get a third cousin or a second cousin, then that's really fucking easy from there. Fourth, fifths, you know, whatever, they'll do it as far as the records will go back. They'll go back pretty far. It's not a joke. It's no joke, man. So, haven't been verified. I don't even think that they'll get anything from CODIS. I think they're going to get something through in genetic genealogy. It's just so the way now. If they have the DNA. They have to have the DNA. If you don't have it, then you don't have that. It's the magic key, though. As long as you got the DNA, it's over. We live in 2026. The DNA science is very, very good. I don't even think CODIS supports polymerase chain reaction style profiles, isn't it? Isn't all SNP profile like single nucleotide profiles or whatever? It's very limited. CODIS operates on very limited type DNA. It's very old school DNA technology, but that's why it's so like, it's like the rugged official solution. If you get a hit in CODIS, great, because it's your guy. But it's limited what it can tell you. It can't tell you who his cousins are. It can't tell you who his great grandfather gave, conceived, and then who they all conceived, and then who all they conceived, and then and all the way until you land on Brian Koberger's smoked out ass. Not a very informative route, CODIS. But if the guy's in there, he's in there. Even familial DNA. I think they can hit you on CODIS. They get the Grim Sleeper that way. It was a familial hit in CODIS. The glove was 2 miles away, so it would need to also match crime scene or be connected to it. Okay. Are the offender's hands not visible in the doorbell footage? Yeah, I mean, if you have a DNA profile from the residence, I wouldn't even fucking waste time on a glove. Throw that in a paper bag, put that in a freezer, and hold it just in case. But there's other investigative routes to look at with this case. If you have DNA from inside the residence, don't look at the glove. It's another bus bomb cipher. It's a waste. The only reason that a glove was heavily looked at in the Harrington case with Irons is because we fucking didn't know what else to do, because nothing was leading to the identity of the offender. So people were like, well, how about this glove? And it was a valid discussion. In this case, if we have his DNA in 2026 and it's over. The crazy thing about it is, like, when I'll Be Gone in the Dark was published, it was that like 2013, and when Sudden Terror was published in like 2011, or Hunting a Psychopath, or whichever one came out when, I don't know. Well, Zap, I'm starting to look at Guthrie now thanks to Quentin, or at least give some kind of informed input on Guthrie, how to look at this. He had layers of gloves on, for sure. Yeah, but you don't need to. You just need heavy-duty, like gardening or motocross gloves. The kind, like, they don't leave prints and they don't tear, like heavy-duty kind of, But you also want to have dexterity still. It's very easy now. And they put, if you need neoprene under that. But if the glove has the victim's DNA also, well, then that, you know, that would tie it to the crime for sure. I don't think Nancy Guthrie threw away her gloves 2 miles away from home before she kidnapped herself or whatever, or before she got kidnapped. But it's just, if there's DNA inside the resident, triage the leads, you know. If you have 20 leads, look at the good ones first. Don't waste your time on the bad ones first, because valuable time is slipping away. We don't know if the victim is alive. So let's triage these leads. And if we have DNA from the residents, focus on that big time. Because you'll solve the case in days. Days. This thing will be over. IgG is very, very good. It's a very good thing. If the EAR case had happened, like if it were happening now, when I'll Be Gone in the Dark was published in 2013, if we had the technology we have, that wouldn't have, the next several years would never have happened. Because someone would have just, and they did early on, before the technology even existed, they said, why don't you just run it through familial databases? It wasn't Paul Holes that came up with that idea. It's just the technology hadn't got to that point yet. Now we're there. We're past that now. The perp used a bite light, so then if he took it out of mouth, that would put DNA. Oh, for sure, he's fucked. Did he leave that there? It's game over. So let's go home, crack champagne. Let's find out where's the victim. We know who did it now. If he left a flashlight that he was biting on at the crime scene, it's game over. The buccal swab situation is very sensitive now, and you're biting it, so you're putting microscopic impressions in that metal that are going to hold biological, even in the worst case, you know. And I'm sure it was preserved if it's there. It's game over. Don't worry about a glove. What does it matter? Oh fuck. I was eating my flashlight. I'm gonna leave it at the crime scene. Make sure this guy eats his flashlight. She's out until the evening time at a Alano club. But then we get to dive deep. I almost canceled the stream, and then someone was like, yeah, but there was like weed sitting around here. There's a lot of concentrate right there. There's tricks to get it out. No, the saliva on the glove. Oh. Yeah, but I just need to know where the DNA comes from in the case to know. And that's the thing, like, we don't really know. The FBI knows. So people are very quick to jump on the newest case bandwagon, but what they don't realize is they actually don't have access to enough information yet to make a difference. The FBI is looking at, you know, the case fresh. The crime scene is probably still even vacant, and there's probably investigators in it as we speak, you know. And those people can really make progress in this case, but online sleuths are, you know, we're not in a position to solve this. I love that people think that they can do that, though. Like, you guys realize this is not a channel of solving it. Didn't they say it didn't match anything in CODIS? Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think it's going to match anything in CODIS, because if it did, this would already be over. You know, oh, they're doing CODIS in 24 hours. They've been done CODIS. CODIS is the first thing you do with DNA. You know, and then because it's very, you know, if a lot of times you're not going to, someone who has done this shit before knows not to leave their DNA. Mostly. That's not really true, but if you really want to slice it, if someone has done this kind of crime before, they don't leave their DNA, or they already would have been caught doing it. So this person's probably never done this kind of crime, And if they've never done this kind of crime, they're not going to really be in CODIS. And that's just the way it is. But we don't need CODIS anymore. That's okay. It's like, oh, well. That would have been a nice, easy wrap to the case if they had been in CODIS, but it's not likely. Who knows? It's going into CODIS tomorrow if they get good DNA. Why tomorrow? That's why I think I feel like it's already been done. Because why tomorrow? Oh no. Tomorrow's a long time to wait when you have someone missing that could be dead. Okay, let's see. It's CODIS was great 10 years ago. Really was, you know. At the time the Grim Sleeper was caught, it was what, 2013 or something. Familial DNA was very exciting and new, and even with BTK, especially, familial DNA was very exciting and new. You know, BTK was captured with familial DNA, or the identification was confirmed with familial DNA, and that was pretty good in 2004. But now we live in an era where you don't do DNA the same way. You just now build family trees and do ancestral because it's the best way. Let's see, JBR case. Okay, so Lever, you looked into JonBenet Ramsey. Yes, but it's such a black hole. I don't have any fucking clue what happened there, and I don't think I'm in a position to ever figure that one out. It could be it could be the Sun, it could be the fucking CIA, I don't know. And even if it is the CIA, which I wouldn't even rule that out. It's such a high profile crime. It's like the OJ, like when I see something that fucking major, yeah, it could be exactly what they say, and in a lot of cases it probably is, and I've just been doing stimulants for too long. But there's certain situations where it's like, this feels like it was done by the motherfucking CIA. Like Zodiac sometimes feels like that to me, and I don't even know if it's like real. That's like a hard position in the JonBenet Ramsey case, because I have no fucking clue what happened. It could be anything. And the answer is probably not some crazy shit. But it could be, and I would never have any fucking way to know. Let's see. JBR case, they are getting results in March for new DNA they uncovered. Oh, that's good. They might have solved it then. You know why I say that? Because it says in the JonBenet they're getting results in March. So that's a month away. Month and a half away. What is that, 5-6 weeks? How long did it take to do Koberger's investigative genetic genealogy? 6 weeks? So they might have an IgG hit in Ramsey. I need to check up and see if they caught that Zodiac yet. I stopped. No, they didn't get anywhere with that. Lore Lodge, but if you didn't hear, Lore Lodge says he's going to be tackling and deep diving the Zodiac case. It's like in 2 hours you're going to do that? Good luck. It took me a year and a half to come to terms with the basics and to realize that, like, ugh. No, they didn't catch him yet, Zab. ZBI lab would have it tested today. Yeah, and I think now the ZBI lab, of course, is top in the world. Zap's Bureau of Investigation is very, very advanced and technologically capable. But the FBI also, I think, would have it tested today. And if they have, Quentin says they haven't finished testing, that's possible. But it's also possible that they have finished testing and they're just not ready to announce that yet. DNA analysis is so fast now, you guys. It's not even like a fucking joke anymore. It took time back when they were taking X-ray photography of DNA profile elutions on acetate paper, because that takes, that's like doing it with a fucking cute. Yeah, it's very manual. It's like playing an acoustic guitar. And then you get to where we are now, which is we have sequencers and synthesizers and even AI now. It's like, fuck, you can't. DNA is so fast now, I bet it's so fast. So if they have a JBR DNA hit, they might have a hit right now. They said, what they say for new DNA they uncovered. So they already have that profile then. If they uncovered new DNA, they now have the profile, and they're anticipating conclusion of investigative genetic genealogy for the identification within the next 6 weeks, probably. That's what I think. If that's true. If they have new DNA profile, they're anticipating about a 6-week period to just knock out those family trees and identify this offender. And it will be done, like, fast. But I think now it's so clockwork for them. I think that it's so clockwork running IgG now that they just take their time, brew coffee, and especially if it's a cold case, and they just hang out, and they're like, all right, let's start building these family trees. They set it on a table. They have coffee. They probably, smoke something. I don't know what, or I'm projecting again. And then they line up the family trees, and they go, 4 weeks later, here's our offender, and they just took it smooth. And I think that's where we are now. It was probably with Erons, it was the same thing. It took them 6 weeks or 6 days or something. I don't know how long it took. I can't remember. I think 3 months or something. Because they started, I think they ran that profile like October, November of 2017, and then they nabbed him in April. So it took them, and when they knew who Erons was, it was 6 days from that point until an arrest. And during that 6 days, they had him under round-the-clock, 24-hour surveillance at all times. They were not letting him out of their sight for those 6 days because they already knew he was Erons. But the actual process of identification was several months. Now they whittled this shit down. Let's start up a pot of coffee, hand me that cigarette, and fucking whatever else they're doing over there. And then, yeah. Okay, so 7 cells is dramatic. Zap or Quentin, did you watch my video? Is the Zodiac case solvable? Because we talk about skin cells and DNA in that a lot. It appears from my research during the course of that little presentation, it appears that if you want to develop a decent full DNA profile, that it's ideal to have like a couple hundred epithelial cells. So like, if you have 200-300 cells or 500 cells is even high. To have 500 cells, you could comfortably build a full DNA profile with that. You can build a DNA profile with significantly less cells, though. So 7, I know Colleen Fitzpatrick says she can do it in 3, but I think that's dramatic. Maybe she can. Maybe she's that fucking elite. Not sure. 7 cell, but 7 is on the low side. You really want to have a couple hundred, 200 or 300 of them, and you're good. But your body is shedding skin cells at some retarded rate. You're dropping quantities of skin all day long. And so 300 skin cells is not even that much. It's really easy to do, kind of. As long as the evidence is preserved, your DNA is, they're gonna find you. You have to prevent. Now you can prevent skin cells. Not to teach people how to get away with murders here. Well, Bates is not Zodiac. Let me clue you in on this right away. I can rule out one person in the Bates case. It's Zodiac. Zodiac did not commit Bates. What we saw with that was early connectomania by a journalist. Connectomania is, as I point, it's the opposite of linkage blindness. So the ability to recognize that two crimes are connected in a series is, the opposite of linkage blindness. But on the opposite side of the linkage blindness spectrum, where you refuse to accept any connection between crimes, is another category of people that I like to call connectomaniacs or connectomania. And that's basically where you think every crime is connected. And so journalists and true crime researchers love... yeah. I know. I don't know why Tom Voigt wastes... Dude, Tom Voigt says stuff, it's just like, I don't understand why you think that, because you're too knowledgeable in this fucking case to think that. What does this say? Mitochondrial DNA, right, untestable. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you need nuclear DNA. What, for skin cells? Skin cells you can capture somebody, I think. Paul Avery was an early example of the modern day true crime sleuth who gets bitten by the Zodiac bug, much like Robert Graysmith was, and I guess a couple... Melvin Belli, I guess, has connections to Zodiac. But, Paul Avery was an early online sleuth. They didn't have the internet back then, so they had the newspapers, which is the same as what our internet is. Zodiac was basically shooting people and writing to the internet, posting on Reddit or whatever, where people could see it. But in his day, the newspapers was how that was done. There was no internet. So Paul Avery was a modern day crime sleuth, and they didn't know anything. They didn't know. There was no fucking research done on serial homicidal offenders in Paul Avery's day like the way that's done now. We have entire categories for people like Zodiac. We have ways to, and I don't agree with categorizing everything like this, by the way, either. I don't think that you can lump Zodiac into specific, but you can take elements of his behavior and associate them with fields of study that we know a lot about, and we can determine, is the Bates case actually connected to Zodiac? And of course, no, it's not. But at the time, we didn't know that because he didn't know any of this stuff. My favorite inside crime people tried to link Zodiac with the Colonial Parkway murders. Yeah, it's not. They just love to link it to everything. I think Zodiac wrote the confession letter and sent in threes like Z Communications. The confession letter is too sexually violent for me to believe that that's Zodiac. The confession letter is very, it's thinking with the author's lower head, if you know what I mean. Zodiac wrote with this head. Zodiac didn't write his letters thinking about his... The closest you get in that with Zodiac is when he said that it's even better than getting your rocks off with a girl, that killing people is getting is better with getting his rocks off with a girl. But he's not even really talking. He's talking about how it's better than sex to him. And it's the only time that anything sexually is ever mentioned by Zodiac. And I think the confession letter is written by someone's dick. And to put, to spare no transparency on New Cokes the way that we do. Like, the confession letter is written with the author's dick. The Zodiac letters are written with the author's head. And in fact, that was something that always appealed to me as a researcher in Zodiac in the beginning, was how disconnected the sexual element from the crimes was, to the point where you could talk about Zodiac and never bring up the sexual element of the crimes. Is there one? Yes, for sure. Definitely. I think all serial murderers, all individuals, obviously serial rape, but serial murderers are sexually driven. It's just that their idea of sex is different than normal people's idea of sex. Like, to a normal human being, sexual intercourse, sexual activity like that is what's driving their orgasm and their... And I'm not trying to be vulgar, I'm just being direct. We're just not going to beat around the bush in this. No, I mean written with his penis. The confession letter. It's told from the perspective of an erection. In Zodiac, I don't think, and you could talk Zodiac for ages and never bring up what the underlying sexual motivations of this offender may have been, and you would still have a very interesting discussion. The confession letter, almost immediately, you're going to recognize that there is a very prominent, undeniable, and unobstructable sexual element in the writing that doesn't really line up with the bus bomb letter. So I don't think it's Zodiac. I don't think anything in Riverside was Zodiac except for Zodiac claiming that he had, quote, Riverside activity, which was a retrograde claim. It wasn't like he announced it first and the press dug it up and then he claimed it was him. It's different. I don't think he had anything to do with Riverside at all. At all. I don't think he was from there. I don't think, and maybe people say, oh, Alan was in Riverside. Oh, whatever. You know, if he went to Riverside, been to Riverside, associated, it was briefly, probably, maybe at some point, but I don't think that Zodiac actually even knew where Riverside probably fucking was when he wrote that letter, honestly. I have to give them credit for stumbling upon my Riverside activity. That's not written like someone who even knows where Riverside is. And I live near it, but I don't care about it. It's garbage. It's a meth lab capital. It's all, though, on one hand, that might be kind of nice. It's a bunch of RVs cooking meth. I mean, on one hand, domestic Nagi reduction meth sounds pretty appealing. But I don't think Zodiac even knew where that was, really. If he did, it was passingly. I don't think he operated there. I think Z was Alan, and the Bates letters probs gave him the idea. Maybe. Zap, is this new for you? Well, how long have you been Alan? I lose track of who thinks what because there's so many people with so many strong and have been on a break. You've been an Allen person this whole time? Had Riverside connections, went to races there. Yeah, but yeah, and even it's such a brief thing. Like Paul Avery dug that up independently, and Zodiac was referring to. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's leave room for. You know, I mean, yeah, Allen had connections to Riverside, but it's not. I don't think that. Yeah, good. You're ahead of me. I don't think that it mattered because I don't even think Bates had anything to do with Zodiac. But I like your idea that the Bates letters gave him the idea. Another thing with Zodiac, I don't think he was inspired by one specific thing, which you probably agree with. You know, people, they're like, oh, he's inspired by the Red Hood comic or this comic or whatever thing. It's the totality of things. It's a cultural thing. The idea of a supervillain going around killing people and writing these dramatic bomb letters to the media was a combination of mental insanity, probable drug abuse, and a cultural, an atmosphere. And the 60s were like the perfect place to breed the Zodiac Killer, by the way. That's why it feels so 60s. And people are like, it's the CIA, like Thomas Henry Horn's like, it's the CIA because it came out in the 60s. It's a very 60s thing to do. Even the using astrology as marketing when the killings had nothing to do with astrology at all. There's absolutely no connection whatsoever to anything astrological except for the name. And I hope Lore Lodge doesn't fucking look at that. Just don't look at that, Lore Lodge. It's a name. It's meant to sound cool. It's not meant to, I'm the Zodiac Killer. It has nothing to do with anybody's astrology. Just don't. That's Riverside. Eating my flashlight. Wait for the chat to come back around again. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in. It's around the back, just half a mile from the railroad track. Tom Voigt is he's just so confusing. It's like because he says stuff that he should know is not accurate. I mean, anyone who affiliates with Sandy Betts, unironically, that person, it's like, what, dude? Like, do you believe that story? Because that didn't happen. At least not like that. And that is Tom Voigt's friends. So, I think I need to do like this. Where is... Sandy Betts, dude. Sandy Betts is hilarious, still. Don't swear in my serial killing discussion. It's like, what, dude? Don't swear in my serial killing discussion. Anyway, so David Faraday was shot in the side of the head at point blank range. It's like, okay, well, we can't swear. See if this plan works. Hard times right now. Kind of. These things, what happened when I don't have a presentation? Thoughts on Ned finally abandoning covering the Margulis? Thank God. Yeah. I'm all for it. Marvin Margulis wasn't the fucking Zodiac killer. Guys, unless there's a new suspect with a DNA, don't even waste your time. Seriously. Hash oil, is that? The last of this, like, these dabs from a little container, and I'm, like, scraping them into keef powder and then putting them onto tobacco bowls or smoking them with a pin. Yeah, unless there's a fucking, a DNA match. It's such a waste of time. A lot of these things end up based on ciphers and stuff. Like, Marvin Margulis' name appears in the Z13. Like, no, it doesn't, first of all. And second, just get on that default wavelength. I ride that as default. This guy's name is in the cipher. No, it's not. It isn't there. I lost the video of this, and I'm happy to talk Zodiac today for some reason. Most of us knew it was a scam immediately. Ned gives everyone a chance. Ned, and I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is that Ned is trying to expand our understanding of the Zodiac case, and he is willing to platform any idea in the Zodiac case, yet remain very objective, and just as an organizer and as an interviewer, and an incredible interviewer, and he's very good at his job as a radio host. Ned is the best. I love working with Ned on anything. He's just such a natural at what he does, and he will give any of these people a platform to say what they think is going on in Zodiac. But if we're seriously researching Zodiac Killer, Marvin Margulis is nothing but a blip that you hear. It doesn't even have to do with the Black Dahlia. Like, I don't even know what was going on with Marvin Margulis. I don't look at it because his name is not in the cipher. He didn't do the Black Dahlia. The Zodiac is not the Black Dahlia, whatever case. It's not Jack the Ripper. It's not any of these guys. I don't think that are famous, from before. And I didn't even register what the mark, because there's no evidence. I guarantee you there's not. I can tell you without even looking at it, there is no evidence that Marvin Margulis is the Zodiac Killer. There isn't. Because he's not. I know he's not. The only thing that can change that opinion is motherfucking DNA. If you match it to a crime scene profile, okay, it was Marvin Margulis, I'm wrong. Is it possible? Yes, but it's not him, in my opinion. So I just go on that wavelength, which is right off the bat. No, wrong. Not in Cypher. Not correct. Wrong. I want to look at, and I might have to pee again before we do this, but I do want to do this presentation for people because I want to shut down this stupid Z13 talk forever. And unfortunately, you can't, you know. Nobody's ever wants to stop talking about the fucking Z13. But, there it is. First fucking suggestion results. The Z13 second. Like, is this the gang? Who is this guy? That's not Harden, so it's... Yeah, like, look at how many solutions there are for the motherfucking Z. There's no... Guys. I can't even believe... But I guess you have to say it, you know? This is the fucking stupid Cypher. Okay, let me see the whole thing. Let's put the Cypher on the screen. We're going to go pee. And we're going to talk about the Z13. For a little bit. Just listen. Okay, hold on. Ned got to have new content, correct. He's a radio show host. He's got to have a radio show. Just listen to Ned's interview with Morph, and as soon as Morph said he know 100% who Zodiac was, I turned it off. Thought Morph was smarter than that. Right, kid? Morph went too deep. To be fair, though, Morph thought Ross was the Zodiac for ages. Even DNA isn't 100%. Anyone giving it above 10% chance based on circumstantial evidence is a crackpot. Yeah, Morford has been a crackpot. This is my official stance on Michael Morford, is that he is an interviewer of crime content. So if he let me move this Cypher a little bit. If he interviews people like Kenny Clark or, you know, different law enforcement people with actual reliable information and objective thinking scientific minds, he's a good interviewer, and I think he should platform more people like Kenny Clark. But I'm not going to ask Morford who he thinks did a crime or what he thinks even fucking happened at a crime scene, because he doesn't know. And his assessment is not very good. I've talked to him. I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying some people have a niche places. He's great for interviewing a detective and getting some good information out of him and having good access to the Sacramento sheriff. And I think that Morford is in a position to do a lot of very valuable interviews for true crime investigations and research movements. But I'm not going to ask him who he thinks the Zodiac killer was, because I don't think he's capable of giving me a good, objective, or even well-supported opinion on that. And that's just the nature of it. So, no, he doesn't know 100% who the Zodiac is. Not, and it could be McDuff, but I don't think so. I don't even know why he would say something like that. There's not very much evidence. There's not very much anything to that claim that it was McDuff. I mean, maybe there's some stuff, but... Guys, if McDuff was a serious suspect, we would know about him more than we do. It wouldn't just be Morph on BBOR and elsewhere talking about it. It would be like Allen, where Allen is like on Wikipedia. It's just a whole other ballgame. Allen is a suspect unlike any in true crime, really. It's just so well documented. And maybe we're wrong, you know, but I don't think so. It's just he's so wrapped up in it. It's not McDuff. Okay, stand by. I have to go piss again, and then we're going to talk about the Z13. And hopefully we can shut down. I'm going to record this as a separate video because it's going to be enlightening. All right. This is. Oops. Let's just mess all the configuration up. Try and push this back. If that's even possible. Okay. Came in here and moved all my things around. Okay. Oh, I have to start recording. This is the Z13 cipher, composed and mailed by an individual known to history as the Zodiac Killer. It was part of a letter that's commonly referred to as My Name Is, and I believe was mailed in 1970 or 1971, but I think 1970. And basically, it was the last of the Zodiac Killer's ciphers. The previous ciphers made by the Zodiac Killer, for those of you unaware, are the Z408, which is a 408-character homophonic substitution cipher mailed in 3 separate parts to 3 separate newspapers in August of 1969. And then the second Zodiac Killer cipher was the Z340, which is a 340-character multi-transpositional homophonic substitution cipher that was cracked in 2020. And then you have the Z32, which came as part of this campaign of blowing up buses and other nonsense that Zodiac was rambling about. And this 32-character code supposedly gave the location of a bomb that is very commonly believed never to have existed at all. And then finally, we have the Z13 cipher, which is what you see on your screen. And it was accompanied with the message, My Name Is. Every couple months or so, someone online will claim to have solved this cipher. The problem with this cipher is that it's extremely short. It's known by its character length of the Z13. There's only 13 characters in this cipher. And generally speaking, a cipher needs to have a much higher number of symbols because we need to see where symbols repeat and to therefore confirm or fix a solution to the cipher. Because this is only 13 characters long, it becomes much easier to create valid solutions that cannot be checked against anything. And that's where a lot of these reports of people solving this nonsense have come from. So we're going to make up a name today, and we're going to put it with the cipher. Hopefully I can see everything here. The first thing is that the 8-ball character, which is the 5th character from the left, recurs the most number of times. So we can assign it the letter E. Because E is the most common letter in the English language. Oops. It's honestly, it should be faster to do it this way. I think. E. Okay, maybe not. Anyway. E. What if he wrote the cipher in Spanish? Very possible, actually, that he would do that. There's absolutely no indication that he didn't do that. So, E again. All right. The way that a cipher like this works is that you can have numerous symbols that represent one English letter character, but you can't have multiple English letter characters represented by the same symbol. So I can't, this 8-ball can't be an E and an A, but an 8-ball and a anchor over here on the right could both be an E. The next step is to find out what names work with an E in that position. B-I-L-L, no. Yeah, I know. It takes forever to figure this out. But you get the idea. Like, even if I don't want to take the time right now, you can put a name there, and you can't prove it wrong. Okay, let's say that his name starts... Okay. Oh, okay. So basically all you need is a 4-letter name. Like, let's go Dale. Okay. And here's what else that means. So, look, as we start faking a name here, you're going to see that... Whoops. I can't use empty names. Fuck you, man. Right, that's fine. I guess there's other ways. Anyway, let's make this smaller. So, look, now if I have the capital A, that always has to equal D if I decide that that equals D, which is what we're going to end up doing. Okay. The other part of that means that anytime that we get that A, we also have to plug in a D, though. Like, oops. Oh my goodness. What's going on there? Yeah. And enter. All right. What I was going to do was go Dave. So, A-V-E. All right. I guess they can't do a D, so we're on that. All right. A-V-E. Whoa. All right. So now we have the name. No, this is the point that I'm getting. Yeah, I get you're joking. Dave Eve. Or let's go. Yeah, we have to do Eve, huh? That's his middle name. His name is Dave Eve. You can't prove it wrong. That's the beauty of this. Ready? This is why the Z13 keeps getting fucking solved. Okay, V. And people are like, look, they cracked the Zodiac Killer's last cipher. It's like, do you know how many ciphers there are? I'm like, no, but there must be 300 of them because he gets cracked every other week. It's ridiculous. Okay, Dave Eve. I used to have a better solution to the cipher. I just don't remember the name that I chose. Yeah, the last D will make it hard, I know. And you could even change that. We can go Steve or... I mean, the only reason that we forced some of these characters is because I chose an E for the 8-ball. But you get the idea. The concept is as long as you can make up a last name here that works with this, or just swap some... change what you represent the 8-ball to be, could be an A or something else. You can put any name there, and as long as it checks out against itself, you can't prove one way or another if the Zodiac... Get it? So, I know I didn't complete making up a name here, and that kind of messes up the demonstration, but it's... You get the picture. Okay, that was a separate recording, so that's going to get uploaded just for people in the Z13 debate. Otherwise, they would never see this. We're 2 hours and 2.5 hours in. The only people that are watching this are the ones that are here or later on. I think... Oh, I was on Amazon, and I saw a movie called The Wrecking Crew, and I was like, oh, it's Jerome. The French Wrecking Crew. I liked it when his channel was called that. The French Wrecking Crew. Can we go back to that maybe? Jerome, what do you think? I really miss that name. The French Wrecking Crew. I get the Mysteries of Mr. Belgique is good. But really, French Wrecking Crew. That's some gang stalking shit right there. Zodiac panel was the good old days. Yeah. I don't know. It ended. There's so many people on it. It was exciting as fuck being invited to be on the panel for the first time, and at the same time getting the invitation for BBOR. I just gotten sober off living in a meth lab. I lived in a meth lab, and then I stopped doing meth. And as soon as I stopped at that time, all the Zodiac people were like, because I got out of a detox, and then they were like, oh, hey, you want to come on the panel? You want to come on PBOR? And all this. Oh, this is very exciting. But the panel, just, I've looked at Zodiac so much that I would just want a solution, and I think a lot of people are there. Those from Ned's, yeah, Ned's really good at helping to get what happened to all those fucking cigarettes? Zodiac smoked them. Came in here. Ah. This house airs out really well, so I just do whatever I want. Then the house manager comes home in like 8 hours, and he's like, "What the fuck?" But he's cool. I love trolling him. I'll just Zodiac Killer hot take on popular opinion. It won't be solved without DNA, and basically no progress will be made in this case until they find the DNA. And then also, yeah, that one is really like hard for us because we're really stuck at that. I think that the person that did that Guthrie composite watches my channel, though. Like, where did you get the idea to make this composite sketch of the offender? I was watching New Cokes, and he won't shut up about composite sketches. I haven't drawn a human face in a while now, actually, you guys. I've been too busy getting stoned. I'm making songs. I'm making records. I don't see them even testing again for years. Yeah, if they ever do, I mean, really, like, there's really nothing to test except the cab, I think. And they're, you know, the Tom Voigt gods have spoken, so you can't test the cab, I guess. We're all fucked. The Tom Voigt gods have spoken. Oh. Yeah, Lindsay Robbins. No, sorry, Rebecca Robbins. Lindsay Robbins is dead. Rebecca Robbins. For sure, yeah. Actually, well, yeah, of course that. I think it's already happened, though, and I know you think that, too. We have the basement interview. Lol. Do I still have the video of Alan's interview? If I don't have it, I'm not going to seek it out. But if I have it, we'll play it. I think it's very, very interesting. Alan and Zodiac revisited. ZK Live could be there. This is Presidio. Alan and Zodiac handwriting. Alan, Arthur Lee Allen. Alan, in the Zodiac. I checked that one already. I think I did, right? There's absolutely nothing in it. Okay, yeah, I don't have it anymore. That's fine. No, maybe not the Robbins kids, because the Robbins kids, yes, there's so many things I want to ask them. Fuck, man. The questions that I have in the Zodiac case are all of equal importance towards the case, and each one of them's got to go to like a different person. You know, is this Dab over here? No, Crackhead right here. You know, there's questions I need to ask Michael Mageau. There's questions I need to ask Brian Hartnell. There's questions I need to ask Rebecca Robbins. And I think each of those questions is going to be very important. Well, we got 2 living victims. Some of the people, Alan obviously is the most important that you need to interview, I think, but, and you might say that was not just Alan that you were interviewing. Interviewing someone with an alter ego, but maybe not. Yeah. It used to get pretty lively though, like in Zodiac world here.